Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ashram Talks. Today, we are starting Chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita called Contents of the Gita Summarized. And we're joined again by Australia-based educator Chandramukhi. Welcome, Chandramukhi. Very excited to have you with us again today.
Thank you. Well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So without further ado, we can start diving into Chapter 2.
Okay. So before I start, I'm just going to do a Mangala Charana, which is a auspicious invocation, calling on the presence of my divine masters and the Supreme Lord, praying for their blessings that we can dive deep into these beautiful teachings of the Gita today. So first, I offer this prayer. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadavaktaya Namo Namaha. As we've heard, this first prayer is all about dissipating the darkness of ignorance and praying, acknowledging that our divine master, my spiritual master, has opened my eyes to the truth, and praying that he'll open them even further as we study these beautiful verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So today we're starting chapter 2. We've completed chapter 1. With so many wonderful speakers, and welcome everybody to this class today. If you're listening live or if you're listening to the recording, we're about to start chapter 2, and I feel honored to be doing the first verse in chapter 2 today. So let's take a look at the verse and then we'll get started. So this is Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 1. Sanjaya uvacha tam tata kripaya vishtam ashrupurna kulekshanam vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion and very sorrowful, his eyes brimming with tears, Madhusudan Krishna spoke the following words. So if we look at the context of this verse and where we're situated now, understanding where Arjuna is and in this journey. So we've just come to the point where Arjuna he's become so overwhelmed in compassion, in his mind is depressed, as it says in this verse. His eyes are full of tears. He's become overwhelmed in fear, lamentation, illusion. His compassion is misplaced. He wants to hide away from life. He even as far as his far as a death wish, which is we just looked at the previous verses where he's saying that they can all just come and kill me. I'm not going to fight. He's become helpless. He's feeling so overwhelmed, and tears are coming to his eyes. And if we just look at the previous verse, it says, Arjuna, having spoken thus on the battlefield, he cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down in the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. So he's completely overwhelmed, as we've been discussing. So many speakers have been discussing every different aspect of the different, as Arjuna is progressing, how he was trying to justify why he should not fight. And, he's situated in a state of overwhelm and ignorance, a darkness actually, because he's completely overwhelmed. The topic of my talk today is light on the horizon. Because where is he? He's with Krishna. Krishna is God. He's the Supreme Lord. He's the dearest and nearest friend of all living entities. And Arjuna is with Krishna and he's talking with him. So he's being fully held by God, held by Krishna. He's not just sitting there, like on one hand, he is completely overwhelmed and he's going on and on and on about how he just cannot fight, he needs to run away. But at the same time, he's talking with Krishna, he's talking with God. So if we could just place ourselves in a situation like that, I've been actually trying to do that as I've been meditating on these verses to talk about. Because as we spoke about at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, this battlefield of Kurukshetra also represents the battlefield of life, like that we're situated in. And these instructions that Krishna is about to speak to Arjuna are instructions to us in our battlefield of life. And so I think it's a really nice exercise if we could just stop and think. So where, for this particular verse and any time when we're reading the Gita, what situation is Arjuna in, and how does that relate to me and my life? So if we can think meditation for this verse, so we think about a time when we have been we might be right now, we might be in a situation right now where we're overwhelmed, we're full of despair, we're full of fear, confusion, or it might be a time in the past where we can think of. Now, if we're in that state and we're just overwhelmed and we feel like there's no way out, if we can have a think about, well, what situation is Arjuna doing? He's knowing he's with Krishna. And that's actually one of the first steps, that knowing that we're with God. God is with us every moment. And even, through our despair, through our ups, through our downs, in our good times, in our bad times, God is always with us, and his love and his glance is upon us. Just like Krishna is seeing Arjuna full of compassion in this verse, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears. Madhusudan Krishna spoke the following words. So he's with him, he's seeing him, and seeing his despair. So the Lord is full of love. It is said, God is love, love is God. Krishna is love, love is Krishna. So his heart is full of love, but his standpoint is in a transcendental position of real compassion. Whereas Arjuna is overwhelmed by mundane compassion, which is temporary, actually is false. And so when we can be situated and really meditate that actually God is with me, and talk to God about our situation, just like Arjuna is. He's talking to God. Oh, he's going over all the different reasons why he shouldn't fight. He's looking at all his family members, but he's talking to God right there with him. So we can do that too. Krishna is our friend. He's right there within our hearts. He's actually inside and outside every atom. It's amazing. The atom is so tiny, and everything is made of atoms, and he's inside those atoms and he's outside those atoms. He's everywhere, in every he actually, the universe is an expansion of Krishna. So he's inside and outside everything, and so close to us. My Gurudev would say, my Gurudev Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj would say that your guru is so close to you that he's closer than the air you breathe. And your Gurudev is a representative of Krishna. So Krishna and Shri Guru, the Divine Master, so close to us, more closer than the air we breathe. Now, we just think about that for a moment. That's really, really close friend that knows the inner workings of our heart more than anybody else, and who has so much love for us, who cares for us more than anyone else, and knows what is best for us in the ultimate scheme of things, not in a material. Other friends, they may have solutions, they may come up with advice, and I should do this especially if we're going through a difficult time. But if it's not coming from a transcendental place of reality, it'll be advice situated in illusion. So Krishna, the Lord in our heart, this God in our heart, who is our well-wisher, our friend, is always there looking at us and just waiting for us to turn to him. And if we, as Arjuna is doing, he's talking to him, telling him his difficulties. And then Krishna's about to speak. And what we're going to hear is is so beautiful and so profound and powerful that it shakes us out of the illusion. And so I'm looking forward to hearing this second chapter as the different speakers go through, because we'll hear how Krishna is going to tell in a loving way. It says in a few verses coming, it says he smiles in the midst of the army. So he's transcendental. He's not affected by this this despair, and he just goes in and speaks the truth in such a beautiful, profound way that wakes us up out of the illusion, just like he'll be waking up Arjuna out of this illusion. So this being aware of the presence of the Lord with us through our difficulties is such a powerful thing. And then the next step will be the Lord will guide us out of it. So there is light on the horizon, just like the sunrise. When the sun is, even before it's come above the horizon, you can start to see the light. The darkness of the night is slowly going. And so when we can meditate on that beautiful presence of God in our life, within our heart, and there through our difficulties and our happiness, ups and downs, it is like that sunrise, and it's like, that darkness will soon dissipate if we simply turn to our dear friend. In one of the purports of Srila Prabhupada, the author of this beautiful book, he's of the purports. Obviously, Krishna is the author, but he's published this translation with his purports, and he describes that an analogy of two birds in a tree. We actually used to have a little rhyme when I was a kid. Two little birds sitting in a tree. One is Krishna, one is me. I can't remember the rest, but in the rhyme. But in the analogy, the one bird is madly going after all the fruits of the tree, and trying to enjoy in that tree, and that, where the other bird is sitting peacefully next to him, just waiting and watching as a witness. And when that bird realizes, actually, I'm not experiencing happiness here in this world, and turns to that other bird sitting next to him, then all the calm and peace that this other bird is situated in will be transferred to him, and he'll calm down and not be so erratic. Anyhow, so Krishna is there, right near us, right next to us, through everything. There's one beautiful, many of you may have heard this prayer. It's a Christian prayer. I remember hearing it when I was going to school at a Catholic school, high school. And it kind of illustrates this, that sometimes we don't realize the Lord's there through our difficulties. It's footprints in the sand. I'll just read that. One night a man had a dream. He dreamed he was walking along the beach with the Lord. Across the sky flashed scenes from his life. For each scene he noticed two steps of footprints in the sand, one belonging to him and the other to the Lord. When the last scene of his life flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints in the sand. He noticed that many times along the path of his life there was only one set of footprints. He also noticed that it happened at the very lowest and saddest times in his life. This really bothered him, and he questioned the Lord about it. Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I've noticed that during the most troublesome times in my life, there is only one set of footprints. I don't understand why I needed you most. I don't understand why when I needed you most, you would leave me. The Lord replied, my precious, precious child, I love you and I would never leave you. During your times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints in the sand, it was then that I carried you. So, how beautiful that the Lord is so close to us, like I said, closer than the air we breathe. And through those dark times, he's there to carry us and bring us through. And if we take shelter in our dear friend who is within our heart, just as Arjuna is doing, then very soon we'll be carried through the difficult times. So in this verse, Srila Prabhupada is making some very nice points about the compassion that Arjuna is feeling. So he speaks about material compassion, how material compassion, lamentation, tears, etc., are actually all signs of ignorance of our real self. When we have compassion for the eternal soul, that is in relation to self-realization. So Krishna, as I said before, is situated on the platform of transcendental compassion for the eternal soul of Arjuna, for his eternal welfare, just like he is concerned for our eternal welfare. But we get concerned for the material welfare of others because we're identifying with the body and we're forgetting who we really are. Srila Prabhupada gives the analogy in this purport that the compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. So if someone is drowning and you're going to be worrying about their dress, then that's foolish, right? You're going to go and save the person, not the dress. The dress is secondary. But he's making that point to wake us up that actually that's what we do, because our body is like a dress, and this is going to be really outlined clearly in this chapter. This chapter is actually an analytical study of the difference between matter and spirit, and will really, really highlight the point that we are spirit, we're not matter. We're not this body. This body is like a dress, and or like a vehicle. When we get inside a car, then we drive and then we get out of the car, but we're not the car. So our body is like that, or it's like we put on a jacket, and then when it gets old, we throw it away. So our body is like that. We're wearing a dress, an outer dress, but the real self is within. And when Arjuna is he's overwhelmed in compassion for the material bodies of his relatives and friends, and the whole situation, he's situated on that plane of identification with the body. Of course, that doesn't mean we be callous to others and we don't, show compassion to others. But we're talking about this overwhelming grief that comes in our heart based on material compassion, and how this compassion is misplaced, and how if we can look to the real, if we come to the point of understanding who we really are and become situated on the platform of spirit, identification with spirit, identification with our eternal nature, then we'll have the vision of the actual compassion for everyone, and it won't be self-motivated. Material compassion is actually self-motivated. Every when we're forgetting our real self, we're rather the function of our eternal nature is loving service to God. It's described in Jaiva Dharma and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jivara Swarupahaya Krishna Nitya Das, that the jiva, or the living entity's eternal function, is Krishna Nitya Das, or eternal service of God. And that means eternal service of all living entities in the right perspective, because all living entities are part and parcel of God. But when we forget that nature and we try to enjoy this material world separate from God, we start thinking that everything is about us, that we start our goal in life is to serve our own mind and senses and to serve the mind and senses of others. But but it's all filtered through a selfish perspective. Param Pujapachya, the Bhakti Rakshakshita Goswami Maharaj coins these three words: exploitation, dedication, and renunciation. And that selfish aspect is actually exploitation. It's exploiting others for oneself. And that's where material compassion lies. But real compassion, real affection for others is having the vision of the soul through dedication, through dedicating ourselves to God through our through spirit, through understanding the difference between spirit and matter, and giving up this selfishness, becoming selfless. then Srila Prabhupada makes another point about in this verse it's described that it says Madhusudan Krishna begins, he spoke the following words. And this word Madhusudan is chosen very specifically by Arjuna, because Madhusudan, one of the meanings of Madhusudan, which is one name of Krishna, is that he killed the demon Madhu. So Krishna is known to kill many demons. And if you look into the life of Krishna in his childhood, many demons, demonic persons came to Vrindavan where he lived, and he, by his mystic power, they were killed. And then through the different histories in Krishna and his incarnations, you'll see that there's many great powerful demons that Krishna will kill. So in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 16 later, well, I'm not going to go into that now, obviously we'll get there eventually, but there's a whole chapter dedicated to, it's called the divine and the demoniac natures. And what is a demon? It's actually someone who's forgotten their real nature and absorbed in selfishness and exploiting others. And obviously there's going to be varying degrees. It's going to be, moderate to the extreme. So these demons actually represent dark forces that are within our heart that we've adopted because of our forgetfulness of our real nature. We've become identified with matter and become, thinking that the goal of life is me, I, everything for me. And then that becomes more and more thick, so that we develop even other dark qualities like envy, jealousy. There's those 6 enemies: lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion. And they can become magnified or less depending on our karma, depending on our situation that we create for ourselves. And when Krishna's killing the demons, he's killing those, and each of the demons actually represent different bad qualities, and they represent the different qualities that we've adopted in our heart. So Arjuna is actually wanting Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that has overtaken him. So as he's come on the battlefield to discharge his duty in fighting, and he's all ready to do it, he becomes overwhelmed with misunderstanding, and he actually wants Krishna to kill that demon that's in his heart. And so the word demon can be quite full on, but it's really referring to all those darker forces that we get covered by, and how Krishna can take those away, purify us, and bring out the light that's actually in our heart, because actually they're false identifications with lower modes, lower qualities, and they're not the real us. We even see in Krishna's life when he was younger, because he's a transcendental, he is God, and he appears on this earth and he displays his transcendental pastimes. And some of those pastimes involve killing demons, as his, that's one reason he's called everyone to this battle. So that's one of the reasons he's appeared, to eliminate the dark forces on the earth. And coming on the battlefield, so many of them came, and then they were killed all at once. But what happens when they're killed? Their body isn't killed. They're purified. Every single demon that comes that Krishna kills, their demon body is taken away, that they've developed these such dark qualities, but then they're purified, and that soul becomes liberated. And sometimes even given a place in Krishna's pastimes, like Putana. So Krishna, everything is good about Krishna. Everything he does is wonderful and pure and for our benefit. He is always out for our benefit. And even, that the whole understanding of killing demons is all about killing those dark forces that have overtaken us. So Arjuna is praying Madhusudan. He's speaking, this verse is Madhusudan Krishna. Actually, Arjuna's not speaking, it's Sanjaya. But he's indicating this, Srila Prabhupada indicates this, that Krishna wants this Madhusudan Krishna wants him to remove this demon of understanding that has come in his heart. So this is the beginning of a wonderful chapter where the intricacies of self-realization will be described, and Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who is just behind the screen. It's actually we draw up a screen between ourselves and Krishna sometimes, most of the time, and that actually he's just behind the screen. He's just there waiting for us to turn to him. And so he's going to be bringing the light into Arjuna's heart. So light is just coming on the horizon as this chapter progresses, and it will get more and more bright as we go through the Bhagavad Gita, shining the light through the darkness. And I'll just finish with these beautiful words by one of our great teachers, Param Pujapad Srila Bhakti Rakshakshita Goswami Maharaj. He says, we must try to look deeper and then we will find our friend. If we are liberal in our attitude towards the environment, we cannot but come in connection with the plane which is really liberal. That is Krishna consciousness in its ultimate reach. If we look deeply into reality with this sort of vision, we will find our real home. So just this last little part, he says, Krishna consciousness is commanding the whole. We must not allow ourselves to be discouraged under any circumstances, however acute they may apparently seem to us. Krishna is there. As much as the circumstances appear to oppose us, it is really not so. If only we can develop the right vision, the smiling face of the Lord will appear from behind the screen. That is Krishna consciousness. Krishna is beautiful and he is eagerly awaiting to accept our services. So I'll finish there today. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Chandramukhi. Again, very inspiring introduction to Chapter 2. Thank you as well for everyone who joined us today. If this video resonated with you, feel free to like it and subscribe to our channel and connect with us on Instagram at Ashram Talks ENG. We look forward to seeing you on Thursday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time to continue navigating and exploring these deep themes of Chapter 2. So thank you again so much to everyone who joined us, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursday.